Adfreeshows.com. Your screen does not deceive you. I am joined by more than just Tully Blanchard on this week's episode of TullyVision, but we're joined by TESSA as well. Guys, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great.
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. The first time TESSA has graced us with her presence here on TullyVision, here on adfreeshows.com. It is the first time we've had a father and daughter on any of our platforms here on adfreeshows.com. So this is one of those monumental moments that maybe we'll see more of in the future. You never know. But we have a great show lined up for you tonight here on TullyVision. We're going to be watching back two classic matches of Tully's. And we're going to get Tessa's feedback on what she's seeing as well. Maybe some things that, she was a little confused about her dad doing, or maybe some technical expertise. We have a lot to break down and discuss. We're going to be watching Great American Bash 1985, Steel Cage, Dusty Rhodes, and Tully Blanchard for the NWA television title. Then we're going to be switching gears to just a year and a half later, Starrcade 86, Night of the Skywalkers. Tully gets a rematch against Dusty this time. It's a first blood match. Tully, when was the last time, if you have ever, seen either one of these matches since they happened?
I don't think that I have actually watched either one of them. So this is going to be me being pretty critical of myself.
Okay.
Or patting myself on the back because they were hard matches. I mean, it was, whenever you have a cage match or a first blood match, the gimmick matches are hard because you have to, if the gimmick doesn't get over, then you haven't done your job.
Sure.
And so that is important that in the cage match, it is for the title, but you got to get the cage over. You got to do all those things, and you got to make Dusty look good. And I can say that because he can't hear me now. So,
got to make Dusty look good. Tessa, when was the last time you've seen either of these matches, if ever?
I think I've only seen the first one. I'll know when I watch it back. I've watched a lot of my dad's matches, but I couldn't tell you the exact year or event that it might have been. But I'll watch it and be like, "Oh, I've seen this before." But I believe this first one that I have seen.
It is going to be quite the event. This actually, Great American Bash 1985, the full event was just uploaded to the WCW Vault page on YouTube. So the link is going to be below. You're going to make sure that you're going to fast forward to the point we have you at, so you do not miss 1 second of the action. Obviously, we can't show it on your screen due to WWE copyright reasons, but the full event of Great American Bash 1985 is up on the WCW Vault. The link is below. Not only will you see Dusty versus Tully, you're going to have Ric Flair against Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA taking on Kamala, and so much more. 1985 was quite the year for Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA. Tully, what do you remember of 1985?
Business was booming, and we wrestled 7 times a week, 7 days a week, and usually twice on Sunday, twice on Tuesdays. So that would be about 9 times a week.
It's a lot of business.
Week after week after week after week after week after week. So one of
my favorite parts of watching these back with you is seeing the difference in configuration of how the business is changing. This is 40 years ago. You're in an outdoor stadium. There's a concert. There's a whole lot going on. Did you find it difficult to work in a stadium compared to an arena? Because some people have said it's tough.
It is. There's a lot of different stuff about it. Just because you don't hear the audience inside of a coliseum, there's not a roar because there's nothing on the top of a stadium.
Right.
And but the neat thing was with this one, I if I remember right, we had ringside seats, so you at least had that part of the audience was there and live and giving you feedback, instead of the one time I wrestled in Aztec Stadium, they wouldn't let anybody on the soccer field, so that 38,000 people were up in the bleachers, and that was hard.
Tessa, what's one of your favorite venues you've wrestled at?
Oh gosh, Greensboro Coliseum had to be one of them. Baltimore was phenomenal. The old building in Philadelphia was just unbelievable.
The Civic Center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, they roared and they loved the Horsemen up there and hated us in Baltimore, only 100 miles apart. So
Philly's always been a heel town. Tessa, what are some of your favorite venues you've wrestled at?
Oh shoot. Maybe Arena CDMX, which we did a triple mania there, and that was insane in Mexico City. But Arena Mexico, that's the oldest building that runs professional wrestling in our sport by CMLL, who's the oldest or the longest running company in all of pro wrestling. I think since like 1932. Don't quote me, but I think that's the year. And so those venues that have like a lot of history, I really like. I think one time we were talking, and there's 3 venues that my dad and my grandpa both wrestled in. It was the Cow Palace in San Francisco, the Keel Auditorium, and then one more. I forget.
Keel was in St. Louis.
But there's one more venue, but it's a church now, which might be the Keel actually, that got torn down and they turned it into a church. But I wanted to wrestle in those so that way we could say that all 3 generations wrestled in them. And the only one I think that's possible is the Cow Palace.
Cow Palace.
So my grandpa wrestled in it. My dad and Arn wrestled the Rockers there. And then I had a tag match with Colt Cabana there like years and years ago.
Oh, was that the convention show?
That's a pretty cool venue. I think there might have been a convention going on there.
Yeah, I remember the Cow Palace being run.
The Cow Palace.
Yeah, that's awesome. So all 3 generations of Blanchards have wrestled in the Cow Palace.
And that's the only venue that can say that.
That is amazing. That's some legacy there. Well, we're going to get started with our watch along here. We're going to start off with the Great American Bash 1985. We are at the American Legion Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're going to fast forward the WCW Vault to 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 3 seconds. That's 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 3 seconds. And I believe we're ready on our end. Are you guys ready on your end?
Yes, you just tell me when.
We're going to count it down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play. Man. And of course, I'm the one who didn't have the audio turned down, like I asked everybody else to have the audio turned down. But there we go. We got Tommy Young in the ring. We got Dusty Rhodes. We got Tully Blanchard and Baby Doll at ringside. What a shot that is of the crowd, of just how many people. So cool. It's so cool to see, like you said, people on the ground, people in the stadium. It's just, it's what I think is missing out of wrestling today. I don't think enough cool arenas like this are being run right now. But that's,
you don't ever really see like the ring out there like that in the middle of the field. You know what it reminds me of though is like COVID minus the social distancing.
Yes.
They would put the ring out in like Catholic school fields.
Yep. Yeah, nobody there, just a lighting rig and nothing else, and a couple cameramen.
Yeah.
The NWA TV.
Yeah, I don't remember how many people were there, but I know it was sold out. So it was probably close to 25,000 people because it was an old stadium.
Where was
it? Tell you,
Charlotte.
I can tell you what was reported at the time, but it's going to be from Dave Meltzer. So please take with it a grain of salt, as I'm sure you always do. Supposedly,
Charlotte was this?
The stadium down on Independence.
Really?
Yeah, the old stadium.
It just looks so different.
This is before the football team and everything.
Yeah. Look at that hairdo, Dad.
That was back when I had hair.
By the way, that title belt is one of my favorite title belts. That NWA TV title is high ranking in my list of just amazing looking.
You know, there's so many people that say that same thing.
Just talk with Lex Luger, who actually got a replica of it because it's his favorite title, and he actually has it in his office. So Yeah,
There's so many people who say the NWA TV title was their favorite.
and it's funny to me because like no one's tried to replicate it or like duplicate it since. But yeah, I don't.
Is
I'm
that your
shocked that.
replica? He's got a replica of it here too.
How about that? Everybody's getting replicas. That's great. And I've seen a lot of fans start to go out and buy them too. And Tully, have you had an opportunity to sign a lot of them at conventions?
Yes, there's a number of them, especially when we were in Las Vegas last year. I and I don't know who's selling them, but they're doing well.
Yeah. Anybody making belts right now is doing well. So according to Dave Meltzer, 27,000 people attended this show. The pay was a little bit over 25,000. So obviously I'm not surprised there's some comps there in North Carolina and Crockett Promotions. But the pre-match stipulation is that if you lose, not only do you lose the title in this non-sanctioned steel cage match, you lose Baby Doll for 30 days. This was a big, big main event. Why do you think this cultivated as much as it did with Baby Doll being involved?
The Baby Doll was a tremendous success. When I had the World's Perfect 10 contest and we just started on the Superstation in Atlanta, and I had people send in their pictures for the Perfect 10. We had thousands and thousands of females, and there was a lot of males sending their pictures in too. Some of them I won't talk about what they had was their Perfect 10, but it was
that would have been an interesting dynamic.
And then
Everything surprises me these days.
Yeah.
But Baby Doll was different than having a ballet, different than having a manager. It was the first thing that we did. And it was hugely successful. And then when we started with, Dusty, and we'd already had the I Quit match with Magnum, and Baby Doll threw me the chair and that was broken and so on. And she was involved in so many of the vital matches, vital finishes, that for me to give her up for 30 days was a big deal. And I made it a big deal. I mean, we made the whole situation a big deal. And that's what I think is missing a little bit. But when you wrestle every day, you get to, and people see this stuff on TV, and then they see you at the store and the grocery store, and they ask you a question and you answer them with a promo. It is it's believable. It's the way that we did it back in those days.
You're pulling Dusty into the cage and now working on what looks like an open cut over his eye. Steel cage matches back then and steel cage matches today, they're built entirely different. Tessa, I think you were in a steel cage match within the last year, I think I saw in my research. How do you see the difference between steel cage matches today and back then?
I don't remember if it couldn't have been in the last year. I'm sure I've had one. I just don't remember exactly. But I mean, back then you probably saw, I guess it just depends on the promotion nowadays, because back then it was more, it is just different, right? The indies, we don't really have those anymore. Nowadays, if you want to see blood and guts, you're going to go watch GCW, or occasionally you'll see it on AEW now, but you're not going to see those really, you're not going to see Tully versus Magnum I Quit on a WWE programming in 2025. You're not going to see something like that. So it's very, very different. We went to UFC Noche last night in San Antonio, and I told my dad, I was like, we have to go get photos in the cage. He was like, I've been in enough cages in my life, Tessa.
Did you get the picture, Tully?
he mentioned it. He said, Tessa, I've been in enough cages.
It was interesting to watch, though.
I'm sure it is. It's interesting to me as we're watching. We are 3 minutes into this match, and Dusty is already covered in blood, bleeding right over his eye. When you guys are sitting down,
you know what part of it is, though, too? I think, Derek, like back then you look at them and like they're actually fighting, right? If like the blood meant something. Nowadays, I think like a lot of people wrestle just for the gifts. Like who can do the craziest thing or jump off the craziest thing or do the thing that they've never seen before with skewers or staples or thumbtacks or Legos or just for that quick knee-jerk reaction.
My favorite part of this is that everything has a meaning behind it, and there's a reason for it. Dusty's already bleeding because he's the baby face and he needs to overcome the odds. Now he's got the shine on you and he's rubbing your face into the cage. He doesn't care that Tommy Young's trying to stop him. There's a story behind every movement, every step, every layer of the match. It's important to put that together, especially for you two, considering you guys have worked together so much. It's got to be somewhat different each time, right?
Yeah, but it is the essence of what is needed is you have to set the stage for Dusty to make comebacks. And the more comebacks he can make, the more the people scream and the better you do your job.
I think a lot of the time too, like over the past however long, like the heels and baby faces, it's changed so much to where now heels want to be cheered and they want to be the ones that are selling the merchandise and they want the crowd to like them, right? And to where back in the day, it wasn't like that. Like you had your heels who were your selfless heels, who the job was to get the baby face over. And that's just a lost art now.
It's funny to me that you say that because you look at the top roster right now, and the most and the best stories are with the best heels. And without heels, there's no real baby faces. I've seen, especially over the last couple months, they keep trying to put together heel factions and it doesn't really stick. But Drew McIntyre stood out to me as someone who's been like that heel that has no care about anything but his own, and everybody believes in his stuff. When I look at Drew McIntyre, I see a horseman. When I look at Drew McIntyre, I see a top-level heel. When nowadays, it's hard to find anybody who wants to be the real heel. And I think that's where a lot of it gets lost.
Look no further, Derek.
Yes, the real heel, yes.
You found the family.
Yes. One of the cool things I saw this week was FTR shouted out their favorite moment in the last 5 years is their tag title win with Tully in their corner. FTR has taken on a level of heels that they don't care. They will plow through everyone and anyone in their way. I think the hard part with being a heel nowadays that, like Tessa said, everybody wants their Twitter pop, wants to be shared and streamed and all this. And no one wants to be the real bad guy anymore. But it's such a lost art. It's a shame it's disappeared.
Well,
Tommy Young.
It is a lost art. Tommy Young was fantastic.
Yes, I love Tommy Young.
He helped get the things over, like the little piece at the first with the armrest or my arm pad. I wouldn't let him search it. My elbow pad. And then to get his authority over, he started counting and I gave him the elbow pad.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have any heat if you don't have any rules. And that's what a lot of people nowadays that I saw with my little bit of involvement in with AEW and that, it is when you just go do whatever you want to do, there's not going to be any heat.
Right.
Because you've got to be breaking the rules and you got to be sneaky to be doing that to get the heat so that the babyface can make a comeback. And that was the thing that just watching a little bit of this stuff, the things that I was talking to Tessa about the other day, and just watching to see if I did what I told her to do, and I did.
That's good.
I reestablished me being a chicken with Tommy and with Dusty, and it is ooh.
I thought you were going to do a Canadian destroyer, and I almost freaked out.
No, we just did a backdrop into the cage.
That is
You're
like
with me,
that's a
Derek,
normal
right?
setup,
Like I
though.
thought,
Yeah.
like this is gonna be insane. But you know what? On that, I think like we were in Minneapolis this past week for TNA, and we were watching the tryout matches of the extras, and there was a referee trying out, and he was like, "Hey Tessa, did you watch my match? Did you think I did a good job?" And I was like, "Well, how do you think you did?" And he was like, "Well, like as a referee, I'm pretty sure like if you just stay out of the way, then I did a great job. Like if I'm invisible, that means I did great." And I'm like, "Wrong. Like the referee is just as important. Like you play such a huge role." So watching Tommy Young, phenomenal. You watch people like Earl Hebner, phenomenal. But then when you do get a one bad referee, or like that can completely change the course of action.
I was a referee 20 years ago, and the first thing I was taught was if you're not adding to the action, there's no need for you to be in there. You need to be involved, and you need to make it make sense, because if you're not enforcing anything, it doesn't go anywhere. I believe that's still ringing true. It is crazy the reaction this gets, by the way.
Jeez Louise, look at the people.
That was a pile driver.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
And now Baby Doll is realizing her fate.
And
Dusty
28,000 people were screaming.
They went nuts. The crowd goes nuts. And now here come all the baby faces.
They're carrying Dusty.
Oh, it's Terry and Sam Houston and
everyone charged the ring.
All the baby faces.
And now they're going to get Baby Doll.
That could have passed for Conrad.
The guy with the beard?
Yeah, the guy with the beard.
Look at
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to pause it there. If you guys have gotten a black. So watching that back now watching that back for the first time in 40 years, Tully, what stood out to you?
Well, my object every time I went to the ring was to make people scream longer and louder than anybody before or after me. We were on last that night.
Right.
So Ric Flair had just finished. I forget who he wrestled.
Nikita.
I think Nikita.
Yep.
And so, I mean, the people were about exhausted from screaming for the last 2 hours. And then one of Dusty's country western guys was in concert beforehand.
David Allen Coe.
David Allen Coe. And he was one of my favorites too. And I didn't even get to listen to him. And it was, you go out and again, you want to make the Dusty Tully story one more chapter better and move on. And you want the people throughout the match screaming, and especially at the end of the match screaming. And it was the impact of him, and I think if you'd have showed it just a little bit longer, him dragging her by the hair out 60 yards from the middle of the football field.
And that would not fly in 2025.
No,
Absolutely not.
Probably the reason why they cut it off when they did too.
Look at that. There's a lot that y'all got away with back then that would not nowadays.
No.
Yeah. And I don't think, and I may be wrong, but we have not attacked Dusty and broke his arm yet.
That is correct.
Okay. That was one of the more phenomenal things that we did. And videotaped it. I think today you'd get arrested for attacking somebody in public and tying them up to a truck.
Yeah.
And hitting their arm with a baseball bat.
It's probably frowned upon.
Although if you do it in Orlando nowadays, I think you get away with it because they tend to have a lot of backstage attacks at NXT. So if you do it in the Performance Center parking lot, I think you're okay. It seems to be like a thing now. Tessa, watching that back, what stood out to you?
Well, nowadays, like in wrestling nowadays, I feel like almost everything from promos to in-ring matches is talked about. And I personally feel like, let's say you go in the back and you're planning an entire match, and then you go out and you have that match and the crowd doesn't react, then something that you planned has to change, or you've got to do something to evoke emotion, right? So people aren't going to remember all of the spots that you planned and the craziest move or whatever, but they'll remember how you made them feel. So I feel like if you leave those those areas in your match to be organic, like back in the day, they would only call the finish. I've had matches where, like, I wrestled George South for 47 minutes in a North Carolina armory, and he was like avoiding me the whole time and said, "The finish is a schoolboy. I'll see you out there." And I'm like, okay. But like you leave that room to see what the crowd likes. You watch the matches before you to see, okay, watch the crowd, what's working, what's not working, and kind of thought ready to go out there and perform in front of that same crowd. So I think like back then where things were more organic and they left that room, they didn't plan absolutely everything. Like me personally, when I have my matches, I'll be like, have a comeback, tell me. If you have a shine, tell me. In the heat, just listen.
Yeah.
And then if it works, cool. If it doesn't work, we change it in the moment, right? Psychology, a lot of people try to overcomplicate it. And psychology is, I want to win, I don't want to lose. So if you get into that mindset of, I want to win, I don't want to lose, what would I do? If your back is to me, I'm going to roll you up. If you've got a hold on me, I'm going to try to get out of it. Like if you're got me in the corner and you're hitting me, I'm going to have my arms up instead of just. I think Randy Orton was one of the best ones at that too, and his dad. Like I love the way that they would get attacked in a corner because it seemed very real.
Yep.
But I think those are some of the differences between back then and now.
The biggest thing that stood out to me was that you guys went 13 minutes, and at no point in time were you worried about where the crowd was at. You knew you had them the whole time. There was no, well, we have to do this because we said we we're going to do this. You just went through exactly what you guys knew what you were doing, and you build up to a crescendo, and the heel pop that goes along with Baby Doll trying to get involved, and then it backfiring on you gives that gigantic reaction from that crowd. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. That to me, instead of pop, 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 it's boom, 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 boom. And that to me is like, when you look at the difference between now and back then, You guys were able to build 13 minutes, and you didn't have to do spot after spot after spot after spot. I mean, we both thought you were doing a Canadian destroyer. And I got to be honest with you, I watched this match a week ago, so I'd be ready for it. And I completely forgot that you were not doing a Canadian destroyer. So that
See,
just
I'm set up
reacted.
for it.
Yeah, because I'm in.
It was like
I'm into
flashback
the
to
minute.
50-something-year-old Ricky Morton doing a Canadian
Yeah.
destroyer at GCW.
Yes,
That's happening.
Well, the thing, I'll let y'all in on something. I don't even know what a Canadian destroyer is.
Let's keep it like that because we don't need any crazy ideas.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let's leave that one in the barrel for now. We don't need to. We don't
Oh
need to
my
add to that.
goodness.
But we are going to transition now to one of
You
your
go
biggest
for a
career
sunset club
moments.
and hang on.
We're going to transition now to Starrcade 1986, one of the biggest shows in Jim Crockett Promotions history because it's run at two different arenas at the same time. Greensboro, North Carolina at the Coliseum and the Omni in Atlanta. So we're going to drop the link underneath. Make sure you're queued up and ready to go. We're going to be watching back one of the best matches I've ever seen. First Blood, Tully Blanchard, Dusty Rhodes for the NWA title, TV title. And we're going to start it off in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. One of my favorite parts of this is who the referee is. And I think everybody forgets. Earl Hebner was with Jim Crockett Promotions before he was with the World Wrestling Federation. And Earl Hebner is the referee of your match. And I completely forgot that until I watched this match back last week and forgot that Baby Earl was in Jim Crockett Promotions. Totally blew my mind. Totally forgot about it. But it's one of my favorite parts of this. Also, the entrance of you and JJ coming out. It didn't have to be a lot of pyro. Doesn't have to be a lot of, shooting things off. It's just, I'm here to work. I'm here to get my work. I want my title back. I'm serious. Let's get the business.
Well, seeing them come through the people too. Like it gives you like those UFC vibes, right?
Yes. It's just a spotlight. You're no nonsense and you're here to just wrestle and win. And I think that presentation fits perfectly and stands out nowadays, considering that everything is LED. And let's see how many seizures we can give everybody while someone's coming out. I think simplistic is the best form of presentation of this sport. Because at the end of the day, I think it's a sport. But now here comes the Flash. It's Goldberg. This is the first time you've seen this match, Tully, since?
I think so. I was a little when he did the shaved side, had my name on the side of his head, like
his name on the side of his.
Yes.
Did he dye it?
No, he shaved it and wrote it in there with
Sharpie.
No.
Because he's the world television champion at this time.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting it back in a first blood match. The other way you don't win by pin, you don't win by anything else, but you get the first person to get blood on the other person. And and Dusty and I bled a lot up to this point. So
that locker room shot is one of my favorites because it's just Dusty down to him and he's there for you. And he's got Magnum's shirt on, by the way, because this is after Magnum's accident.
Well, yeah, I see it. It's curled around his ear, Tully.
Just look at the reaction, him having to get through that crowd with the cops.
Without hitting the pause button, when this met, they put us on early in the card.
Yes. So
that Dusty could fly to Atlanta to be there for the Flair match.
Flair Nikita was the main event.
Yeah.
So you're fourth from the top.
This was the main event, but it's on earlier.
On both sides of his head.
Yeah.
I'm going to shave the sides of my head and do that to my opponent. That's fantastic.
I don't recommend Sharpie. Maybe not Sharpie.
Maybe not that. Those
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy like paint markers.
How good was
I saw a podcast. He got that from Umaga too, like sweat proof.
that's smart. I've always been amazed that Sting doesn't have Sting didn't really lose his a lot either. I don't know what he did different, but he never seemed to lose his face paint. I love JJ.
Yeah, you could wipe it. You could wipe his off.
Could
I
you?
feel like the mullet's coming back.
Yeah.
In 2025, it's made its way back. It's a trend again.
Well, that guy at the fight last night was at the
Yeah, Meltzer
definitely
thing.
had a mullet.
Diego in the main event. Yeah, he had a mullet already. I think
Was
on
it-
that side, so that way it's like backwards if it looks in a mirror.
Yeah, he did it backwards on the other one.
That way for photos and if he's in a mirror.
All right, so what's the story with
Oh,
the
the
headgear?
drama.
First blood. I'm protecting my ears and covering my forehead. This wasn't my first rodeo.
No. Such a simple ploy, though, and look at the heat it gets. I still think JJ's an underrated manager. I know people love Bobby and he's the best, but JJ was just
Oh, JJ.
Oh, I was fortunate to be around both the two best managers ever.
He's great.
And JJ's putting the Vaseline on my forehead so that just let's do.
just little things that take nothing mean so much.
Dang, Dad, you're like super jacked. Girl, have your business.
Giving you the business. And there goes JJ.
Oh, JJ.
At this point,
I think JJ.
JJ probably gets ejected.
No, he doesn't get ejected, but I think he's bleeding.
Yeah, and the gimmick is he drops the coins, right? Yep, there he is. He's got color. So what that does now, you're setting the tone that your elbow can bust somebody. His elbow can bust anybody open at any point in time. You guys have told so much psychology, and the bell hasn't rung yet.
No.
It's just tremendous. You and Dusty have worked together now for almost 2 years consecutive. Did you guys at that point, you knew each other so well? This type of stuff was so simple for you, wasn't it?
Well, it was easy because Dusty knew that I wouldn't take advantage of him, and I knew that I was doing the best thing for the company and for the match, and he trusted me implicitly, and so you just go on about your business.
Was he difficult to put a match together with?
No, because you don't put you didn't have to put a match together. All you got to do is go out and listen and do.
Times have changed.
It's surreal now to think this was 39 years ago and how different everything has changed in all aspects of it. But to me, what stands out the most is how much so little means. And it kind of drives me insane that we can't go back to that. Because this is just great gaga that just the one punch, the holding of the hands, trying to avoid any contact being made because you both are trying to win.
the fans did like it when Dusty.
Even without the audio, I can actually hear his voice.
He would do things that like make you think of like a lucha libre exotico or something.
The struts, the mannerisms, all of it.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of people have been down on Dusty for his work. Do you think people just didn't understand him?
Well, Dusty was Dusty. Okay. And you couldn't duplicate Dusty. Only he could do it. He was an absolutely dynamic heel down in Florida. And then when he switched babyface, all they had to do was put Dusty Rhodes' name on the marquee in it, and it was done. And he was an unbelievable babyface. And he had the interviews to go with it. And, I mean, you couldn't, it was, although I've done it before, but it was difficult to go out there and go 45 minutes or an hour with him. But if you wanted somebody to bleed and make comebacks, Dusty Rhodes, Wahoo McDaniels are the two best.
Yeah. So in my research for this, I looked up or attempted to look up how many times you and Dusty Rhodes shared a ring together. And obviously not everything is complete, especially from back then, but I found 256 matches that involved you and Dusty Rhodes in the database. I'm assuming that's missing 100, 200, spot shows that no one really knows about. But just to have documented that many matches is crazy to me.
Wow. It was the thing that was really good was Dusty could go off and work with Flair and then come back to me and we hadn't missed a step. He could go off and work with one of the other Russian heels or something like that. And we wouldn't miss a lick and pick it right back up. I mean, we didn't wrestle nonstop, or you'd have 600 matches.
Yes.
Over a course of 2 years. And then it was, then we did, tag matches and stuff like that. And then you got all the horsemen involved. And because this was, the horsemen started 85,
Yep.
86. And then we were rolling, once the horseman thing got kicked off. But
I do have a surprising
stat. JJ bleeding for the whole
match.
Do what?
I have a surprising stat for you. The first record of your first match with Dusty was on May 24th, 1985. It's a singles match. It's Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in Greenville, South Carolina, and you got the win.
Really?
That's as reported.
I'd like to see.
I did find that you guys had shared a ring before, the 2-ring Battle Royal, the annual one in 1982, January 3rd of Houston Wrestling. That was the first time that the record has stated that you two were in the ring together in general. So I think that's pretty cool that the first time you guys shared a ring was at Houston.
Oh, wow. For Paul Bosch.
Yes. Did you ever get a chance to work with Dustin?
I think I had one match or two with Dustin. That was not, he was just starting, and the levels were not quite there yet.
Sure.
He's got a school like an hour and some change from here in San Antonio. And I went down there and trained with him a few times.
I've heard he's a great guy. I've never got a chance to meet him, but all I've heard is he's a great guy.
Yes.
And you guys are bumping Baby
Look
Earl
at this.
everywhere.
I cannot believe they're letting him use a shoe, and he throws the shoe away and then just beats me to a plump.
Was it JJ's shoe?
I think so.
So now you've bumped Baby Earl twice.
You know,
Dusty is cracking you.
I'm bleeding.
so Cody did text me not too long ago, and he had told me, he was like, I need to tell you something about your dad. And I'm like, what? He goes, I watch a lot of his matches and use a lot of his mannerisms. And I'm like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, there's something that he does that it's so simple, but I love it and no one else does it. And I was like, well, what is it? He goes, the way he shoots people off to the ropes. He goes, he doesn't grab their wrist, he grabs their forearm and like follows through with their back. And like, he was showing me, he goes, and now I do it the same way. Your dad did it.
Well, we just
How about that?
finish. I just hit Dusty with the roll of quarters.
So he hits him with the quarters. Yeah.
I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna come
And
out
he's
with roll of
bleeding.
quarters.
And he's bleeding. And Earl's finally
Wakes
gets
up.
up.
Just when we needed you, Earl.
And JJ has wiped my face clean and put Vaseline on my head. So
Perfect timing.
You're good to go.
And that's it. We now have a new television champion. It's the perfect finish, isn't it?
People to this day still talk about the roll of quarters.
Yep. What's it like watching this back?
I wish we could hear the crowd response, but it was, it is the neat thing that, and I think you touched on it earlier, is when you were in a situation in a main event match like this for the title, and it was going on for months and months and months, it was how easy it was. And God, the quarters fly all over the place, don't they? And then you see JJ wiping my face. I mean, this is hard stuff to do.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a quadruple flip, backflip, touch your toes off the top rope, off the ladder.
Texas Canadian Destroyer.
It was a backtrack, Derek.
But no, it's simple stuff and it works though. You guys didn't have to go off tables or go through tables or go off ladders. It's just simple psychology and every little bit worked. Tessa, what'd you think?
Enjoy it once again just because it doesn't seem like every single moment's planned out, right? Which brings back the realism to it. Like he won. I do like that.
Even if I had to cheat to win. Of course, JJ cheated. I really didn't.
No, but you know what? Like people to this day talk about this match and the roll of quarters. Like I remember a match that I had in Los Angeles working for a women's promotion, and they were like, we have to bring the roll of quarters back. We have to bring the roll of quarters back. You're a Blanchard. We got to do the roll of quarters. You can't talk about Blanchard without talking about the roll of quarters.
It's absolutely, it is a defining finish. And again, it's one of the rare times you beat Dusty. So it really does stand out well.
Oh, yeah. I'd really like to see that first match where I beat him that
It's
you were
probably
talking
not
about.
It's probably not on TV, but I'll try and dig it up for you.
Out of the matches that you said that you could account for, 250 some.
256.
So I've won one. I've won two. Well, I won two of them.
I only found like 5. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yes.
But the one that stands out the most is the one you won. So, I mean, that counts for something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I did find that your last match with Dusty was in November 19th of 2005 for CCW in Spartansburg, South Carolina. And it was one of Dusty's last matches for the CCW heavyweight title, and no contest. Neither one of you won.
Really? In Spartanburg.
Yep, Spartanburg. It was February 12th of 2005. Robert and Ricky were on the show as well. Ronnie Garvin was your special referee. It was a bunkhouse match and somehow ended in a no contest.
Oh, wow. Ronnie Garvin, Hands of Stone.
Hands of Stone.
Oh, my gosh. I have flashbacks of that already.
How was this down a trip down memory lane watching 2 matches like this?
Oh, wow. Well, I was looking forward to this because having Tessa on here with us, and I know in communications with you that I've thought that we could make her an offer of coming on TullyVision. We could have TNT Vision.
Dynamite. It's never been done before.
Yeah, TNT Dynamite sounds like a bang up name. Tessa and Tully. Tessa, what does it feel like sitting next to your dad watching 2 of his classic matches?
Oh, I thought it honestly, this stuff is like super fun. Like there's plenty of times where so he's someone that doesn't give advice unless you ask for it. And so and I feel like I kind of adopted that from him. But he's helped me so much, like change my mindset in wrestling. Like a lot of times people will tell me over the years, because in December I'll have 12 years in wrestling, and that's crazy.
Wow, really?
In December it'll be 12 years.
Whew, man.
I know.
That is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But let me just interject this non-wrestling. She just graduated from UTSA with a 3.7 3.93 average, which is pretty remarkable.
Congratulations.
And I'm very proud of her for doing that. And she did it and worked full time.
Oh, there was a lot of times it was like, wrestle in Arena Mexico, go to the locker room and write a paper on immigration.
Fitting place to do that.
I'm honestly, I'm glad that it's done now, but it was fun. I learned a lot. I feel like college kind of changes people.
Sure.
And it's weird doing it a little bit later than like what's a traditional student. But going back watching these matches, like I think it's pretty cool because I've learned a lot from my dad as well. And a lot of people over my career have told me, Tessa, you don't wrestle like a girl. Tessa, you wrestle like a guy. Tessa, you don't move like a women's wrestler. And like nowadays people might depict that and be like, well, what does that mean? No, but like I always took that as a compliment, right? Like I spent a year and a half of my career only wrestling guys, and that changed my thought about timing, transitions, going out there and not knowing everything that's going to happen, and trusting in your training and everything that you've learned, and getting into the mindset of, if this was real, what would I do? And then taking a business that a lot of people will say a million different things about. I hate the word fake because whatever, we'll go into a whole discussion on that. But extending their belief, that's our job, right? Especially in 2025 where the typical fan is more intelligent.
Sure.
or the smart Mark fan, right? Like they think that they've crossed the line and they know everything about the business. So how can we take those people and make them believe what we're doing? So I feel like looking back on some of these things, I remember a lot of conversations that my dad and I have had where over the years, even early on, he would lecture me and Tessa, you need to do this. And Tessa, why didn't you do this? And I'm like, I just got out of the ring. Let me breathe for a moment.
Sure.
Well, you strike when the iron's hot.
Yes. Still sweating. Someone get me a water.
Watching this back, does he practice what he preached to you? Do you see what he's talked to you about over the years?
Well, yeah, totally. Because a lot of people in 2025, at least in my experiences, will be like, perfect example. Last week on TNA, we had the extra matches, and two of the girls had explosion matches, which is like the YouTube show for TNA. Yep. They came back, they were like, Tessa, what did you think? Like, oh, I messed up this spot. I know I messed it up. And I'm like, hey. And I felt like I put on my dad's shoes for a moment because I was like, hey, this is a sport that we're in, right? Just like other sports. In football, there are missed passes, there are fumbles, there are interceptions. So if you trip through the ropes or you try a move and it wasn't successfully executed, that just makes it more real. So stop beating yourself up because it didn't look like a gymnastics routine that you've been practicing for months. It looked like you tried something that didn't work and we kept moving.
One of the things I was taught when I was trained a long time ago was no one knows it's a mess up unless you make it known it's a mess up. So there are a million different ways to handle what could be a mistake and what might not be a mistake. And we harken back to the botchamania days where people think, well, this had to be messed up because it didn't look clean. Not everything is going to look clean. It's an athletic contest. Not everything's going to hit the same with one person as it may with another. What you don't know, you don't know. There have been matches I've been a part of where they said, we're going to make it look like this. And people are going to think we fucked it up. And the reality is we're doing it on purpose. And we want them to think there's these nuances to it. And we want them to think that. And I think that's where we want to pull back the curtain. WWE's exposing the gorilla position and the programming and the timing of a match. But at the end of the day, the guys are still going out there breaking their ass and taking bumps and doing all those things. It's still real for everyone involved. And that's what I think has been lost a lot. And watching matches like this and a lot of your matches, Tessa, there's a sense of realism to it. And I think we need to get back to that. It doesn't have to be 20-minute sprints. It can be, the longest match we watched tonight was 12 minutes. And that was that was the first blood match. The cage match was shorter than that.
It's almost like a blessing and a curse, though, because if you're so good of a heel and you go out there and you really make it believe it in 2025, people are just having, they just freak out beyond belief. But I mean, it's up to the individual to not feed into all that, but that happens, right? Like, this person is so good of a heel that was real and they took liberties and they're not a professional. And
I remember Athena last year or 2 years ago, I think it was, got quote unquote rough with an extra, and it turned into this whole big thing with everybody going online saying it was unprofessional. And everybody said, this was how we called the match. And like, I want that. I would want someone to think I went out there and did business, in an unprofessional manner, because all of a sudden she turned into a gigantic heel coming off of it. Folks, I don't know how to explain this to you. That was kind of the goal. It's okay. So it's okay to lose your belief in what you think is real and fake and predetermined and all that. Maybe you are being manipulated and you just don't want to come to grips with it. And
So this is wrestling, right?
Yep.
This is a physical combat sport. And there is a difference between stiff and solid.
Yes. Is
there?
Yes, Dad. We're not all out here having first blood matches.
And your dad told me the Road Warriors are stiff, so.
I'm not trying to have a first blood.
Oh my!
You better add some zeros to my paycheck if that happens.
Speaking of paychecks, I want to thank both of you for coming on TullyVision this month here on AdFreeShows.com. I don't think this will be the last time you see us all sitting on a platform together. I'll tell you that much. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to social media. Stay tuned to some announcements possibly coming sooner than later. And before we go, Tessa, Tully, anything else we need to cover tonight?
No, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for having me on TullyVision. I'm glad that this came to be. I'm headed out tomorrow, so I'm glad that we made it work.
Same.
Well, I'm just glad that you got to be on here tonight and record this after your Eagles won. So that you're in a good mood, smiles, and
Very happy. And the Phillies clinched a playoff berth too, which I didn't realize until about 12 minutes ago. So I'm happy about that as well.
Oh, wow.
I had a great time watching. I love watching all wrestling matches with Tully and Tessa. It was a pleasure having you on this show as well. Next month here on Ad Free Shows, we'll be back with another edition of TullyVision, and maybe you'll see us all together on a YouTube show sometime soon somewhere else. So stay tuned. Thank you all for joining us here on adfreeshows.com on this edition of TullyVision, and we'll see you next time.